Alright, so this video is going to apply the skills we just learned about GCFs in expressions. We're going to do a process called factoring. The directions in this worksheet say factor the common factor out of each expression. So first we have to find what the common factor is. Now I'm going to try to find we'll do this one here. Okay, so it's just like you did for homework last night, but they're showing you how you apply this. Now this is like I said, this is a skill called factoring. It gets more complicated when you get into Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, but this is kind of like the introduction to this topic. It's not very hard, but the way they do it is not too hard, too bad. It's a lot like the stuff we did last night for homework. So if you had no problem with your homework last night, this should be a breeze. We're going to take 48x and 42. I need to find the biggest number I can divide both of these by. So I'm going to take this, and this is going to be 2 and 24. 24 breaks down to 2 and 12. 12 breaks down to 2 and 6. 6 breaks down to 2 and 3. 42 will break down to 2 and 21. This will break down to 3 and 7. So you're going to need a little scrap paper for this. It's not a big deal. The x was only common in this one. This one didn't have an x, so x is not a common factor. So I'm going to have 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3. Again, ends of my factor trees. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16, times 3 is 48. Tell I'm going a little faster here. You should know how to do this now. 42 is going to be 2, 3, and 7. So the greatest common factor is 2 and 3, and 2 times, oops, I'm getting ahead of myself, 2 times 3 is going to equal 6. So the greatest common factor of these guys is 6. That means I can divide both of these terms by 6, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to put a 6 out in front of the parentheses. 48 divided by 6 is going to be 8. Don't forget the x. 42, negative 42, so it's going to be negative. 42 divided by 6 is going to be 7. So I factored out the common factor. That's what they want you to do. If I distributed that back in, I should get what I started with. 6 times 8x is 48. 6 times negative 7 is 42. Okay, that might have been a little confusing. Well, let's do another one. So I'll get into these negative ones in a second. Let's try this one down here, number 14. So I got 56 and 35x. So 56 is going to break down to 2 and 28. 28 is going to break down to 2 and 14. 14 is going to be 2 and 7. 35x is going to be 5 and 7. And that's it. That one was easy. And then don't forget that x at the end. So we're going to take 56, and that's going to equal 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 8 times 7 is 56, so I know I did that right. 35x is 5 and 7 and x. So the only thing these guys have in common is 7. That means the GCF is 7. That means I should be able to divide these two numbers by 7, and it should come out to be an even number. So I'm going to have a 7 on the outside of my parentheses. 56 divided by 7 is 8. Negative 35x divided by 7 is negative 5x. And my problem is done. Okay, and again, if you distribute that back in, 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35x. So it's kind of like a distribution, but you're working backwards. Okay, let's take a look at this one down here with 2 negatives in it. So they're not any worse or confusing, but we'll just see what we got. We have negative 14, a, and 6. So 14, I'm not going to worry about the negative right now, is 2 and 7. 6 is 2 and 3. Now, there should be a negative there. Now I'm going to worry about the negative 1. So when I write my 14a, negative 14a, I need a negative 1 to make it negative, times 2 times 7. Up here, I'm going to have a negative 1, a 2, and a 3. And don't forget your a. So the common factors are negative 1 and 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Now, this is where it can be a little tricky, so pay attention. I'm going to pull that negative 2 out and stick it in front of my parentheses. This is going to become positive 7a, because negative 14 divided by negative 2 is going to give you positive 7, and don't forget your a. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. And that should make sense when you look at the problem now. If I distribute that negative 2 in, I'm going to get negative 2 times 7a is negative 14a, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6a. Or not negative 6a, just negative 6. Sorry. Let's find another one with two negatives in it. How about number 7 right here? Okay. So if the negative's not common in both, that's why we've ignored it before. Like over here, for this one, yeah, that's negative 42, but it's not common. I could have written it, and I probably should have put a negative 1 in there. It's not common in both, so your common factor is going to be positive. Over here, they're both negative, so I know that they're going to have a factor of negative 1 that they both have in common. So 4x is going to be 2 and 2, and don't forget it's negative, so it's going to be 4x is going to be negative 4x is going to be negative 1, 2, 2, and x. We multiply all those things together. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm using commas. Sorry, I'm a little tired. Let me just start rid of that. Should be negative 1 times 2 times 2 times x. And 28 is going to be 2 and 14 and 2 and 7. So negative and a negative 1. So negative 28 is going to be negative 1, 2, 2, and 7. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 4. So the biggest number I can divide both of these guys is negative 4. And when I divide negative 4x by negative 4, I'm just going to have a positive x, and that's going to give me positive 7. So hopefully that helps. And again, if you have any questions, come on in, and I'll be happy to help you.